Dealing with narcissists can be one of the most mentally and emotionally exhausting experiences, especially when they seek to manipulate, control, or drain you of your energy. But what if you could turn the tables without engaging in their toxic games? What if you could torture the narcissist not through aggression or revenge, but by embodying the very principles of Stoicism, by becoming so emotionally untouchable that their tactics simply no longer work on you? Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of resilience and inner peace, provides us with powerful strategies to counter narcissistic behavior without lowering ourselves to their level. The truth is, the best way to torture a narcissist is not to seek revenge or confrontation, as this only fuels their need for validation and attention, but to take control of your own mind, reactions, and inner state to the point where they become irrelevant in your life. This is where the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus becomes invaluable, as they teach us how to remain unshaken, indifferent to external chaos, and in full control of our own emotions and actions. So, how do we effectively dismantle a narcissist's power over us? First, we must minimize their role in our lives by recognizing their patterns and setting firm boundaries. A narcissist thrives on the ability to invade your space, control your emotions, and extract reactions from you. They feed off your validation, your compliance, and, most importantly, your suffering. But when you begin to detach, when you stop playing into their manipulation, they lose their grip. Stoicism teaches us that we have control over our own perceptions and responses, not over the behavior of others. If you remove their power by treating them as insignificant, if you refuse to react in the way they expect, they begin to wither. A narcissist despises being ignored. They despise not being able to control your emotions, and the moment they sense that their influence over you is fading, they panic. But here's the key: you don't do this out of malice, you do it for your own peace. As Marcus Aurelius stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The second way to dismantle a narcissist's influence is to challenge their idealized self-image. Narcissists live in a world of illusion where they construct an inflated version of themselves, often believing they are superior to others. They seek constant admiration and affirmation, and the moment you stop feeding their delusions, they begin to unravel. Stoicism teaches us to see reality for what it is, not for what we wish it to be. Instead of engaging in unnecessary arguments or trying to expose a narcissist, which will only lead to more manipulation and gaslighting, the Stoic approach is to refuse to play along with their self-aggrandizement. You are not obligated to agree with their false narratives or participate in their exaggerated sense of self-importance. Instead, you maintain a quiet, unwavering sense of self-assurance, knowing that their opinion of you is irrelevant to your inner peace. The more a narcissist realizes that you are not impressed, that you are not reacting, and that their tactics no longer work, the more powerless they feel. The third method of neutralizing a narcissist is by prioritizing your personal growth and well-being. When you focus on healing, self-improvement, and emotional independence, you naturally remove yourself from the toxic dynamic. A narcissist's biggest fear is losing control over their target, and the moment you begin to evolve beyond their grasp, they lose interest. This is why therapy, self-education, and mindfulness practices are incredibly effective. When you work on yourself, when you become stronger, wiser, and emotionally resilient, you become untouchable. As Epictetus famously said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you prioritize your growth, the narcissist realizes they are no longer the center of your world, which deeply unsettles them. They may try to guilt-trip you, use manipulation tactics to pull you back, or even attempt to hoover you back into their cycle, but the key is to stay firm. Remember, the more you invest in yourself, the less influence they have over you. The fourth and perhaps most powerful way to neutralize a narcissist is by protecting your mental space. One of the fundamental teachings of Stoicism is the idea that external events do not disturb us, but our interpretations of them do. Narcissists are masters at triggering emotional reactions. They push buttons, provoke, and create chaos. But what if you no longer reacted? What if you became so centered, so indifferent to their antics, that their words and actions simply bounced off of you? The more you control your own emotional responses, the less power they have. They want you to react, they want you to suffer, but when you rise above, when you maintain an unshakable presence, they lose. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The greatest form of revenge is not revenge at all, but rather a life lived free from their control. Imagine reaching a point where their insults, their manipulations, and their drama no longer affect you, where you remain calm, collected, and completely indifferent to their existence. Another key element of overcoming narcissistic control is mastering the art of emotional detachment. This does not mean suppressing your emotions, but rather observing them with wisdom and discipline. Stoicism encourages us to take a step back and ask, is this within my control? If not, we let it go. Narcissists rely on emotional turmoil. They thrive on chaos. But when you master emotional regulation, they lose their advantage. You can acknowledge their presence without letting it disturb your peace. This is the highest form of strength, to be able to look at their actions and simply not care. It is not indifference out of ignorance, but indifference out of wisdom. Furthermore, aligning yourself with a higher purpose can be the ultimate way to free yourself from a narcissist's control. When you have a vision, when you are deeply connected to something greater than yourself, be it personal growth, spirituality, career, or relationships that truly nurture you, you automatically shift your energy away from toxic individuals. Marcus Aurelius constantly emphasized the importance of living with virtue and purpose. The more aligned you are with your own mission, the less you will be distracted by the narcissist's attempts to pull you into their world of dysfunction. In conclusion, the most effective way to torture a narcissist is not through retaliation, but through elevation. By mastering yourself, detaching from their manipulations, prioritizing your growth, and refusing to react emotionally, you render them powerless. A narcissist thrives on control, and the moment they lose their influence over you, they become insignificant. The goal is not to seek revenge, but to become someone who is untouchable by their tactics. As Seneca wisely stated, he who is brave is free. And in this freedom, you find your true strength. You no longer need to fight them, argue with them, or seek their validation, you simply outgrow them. That is the greatest victory. The path to true freedom from a narcissist does not lie in revenge, confrontation, or playing their manipulative games. It lies in rising so far above their influence that they no longer matter in your world. This is where the essence of Stoicism becomes your greatest tool. Stoicism teaches us that external events, including the behavior of toxic individuals, are beyond our control, but our inner world, our thoughts, emotions, and responses, belongs entirely to us. When we apply this wisdom to dealing with narcissists, we realize that their power over us was never real. It was only as strong as the emotional reactions we gave them. When we withdraw our energy, when we no longer feed into their need for drama, validation, and control, they become powerless. The greatest form of torture for a narcissist is not engaging with them at all, not because we seek revenge, but because we have reached a state where they no longer matter. Imagine yourself in a place of complete mental and emotional detachment, where the narcissist's words, actions, and manipulations do not affect you. Imagine no longer feeling the need to prove anything to them, to seek closure, or to justify yourself. This is the ultimate Stoic victory, not the defeat of your enemy, but the realization that they were never your enemy to begin with. They were merely a test, a challenge that pushed you to grow in wisdom, strength, and emotional resilience. The more you embrace this mindset, the more you reclaim your power. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This means that the more you focus on controlling your own thoughts and actions, rather than trying to change or control the narcissist, the freer you become. One of the biggest lessons we can learn from Stoicism is that suffering is often a product of our own perceptions. Narcissists thrive on emotional reactions because they seek control, but the moment you stop reacting, you disrupt their entire strategy. You must understand that a narcissist does not see relationships as connections between two equal individuals. They see them as a hierarchy where they must be on top. But what happens when you step out of their game entirely? What happens when you refuse to participate in their toxic cycle of validation, devaluation, and manipulation? They lose control. They no longer have access to your emotions. They can no longer pull you into their drama. And this, for them, is unbearable. The beauty of the Stoic mindset is that it does not seek to destroy others, it seeks to elevate the self. This means that instead of wasting energy trying to bring a narcissist down, you redirect that energy into building yourself up. You become so self-sufficient, so mentally strong, that their presence no longer affects you. As Epictetus stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you master yourself, you gain an unshakable inner peace that no narcissist can disrupt. They may still try to provoke you, they may still attempt to manipulate you, but their words and actions will feel empty because they no longer hold any significance in your mind. Another crucial lesson from Stoicism is the concept of amor fati, the love of fate. This means accepting everything that happens as part of your journey, including the experience of dealing with a narcissist. Instead of viewing it as something that happened to you, you begin to see it as something that happened for you, a lesson, a test, an opportunity for growth. This shift in perspective is incredibly powerful because it allows you to take full ownership of your healing process. You are no longer a victim of the narcissist's actions. You are a warrior who has emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Furthermore, detaching from a narcissist does not mean you lack compassion. In fact, Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes with understanding. A narcissist is not someone who is at peace. They are deeply insecure individuals who rely on external validation to feel a false sense of superiority. They are trapped in a cycle of seeking control because they themselves feel powerless inside. When you recognize this, you no longer see them as a formidable enemy but as a deeply flawed individual. This does not mean you tolerate their behavior, but it does mean that you stop taking their actions personally. Their toxicity is a reflection of them, not of you. The final and perhaps most liberating step in freeing yourself from narcissistic control is embracing your own purpose. Narcissists keep people trapped in cycles of emotional turmoil because they want to be the center of attention. But when you shift your focus entirely away from them and towards something meaningful, whether it's your career, your passion, your relationships, or your personal growth, you cut off their supply permanently. You no longer exist within their framework of control because you have built a world of your own. This is the true Stoic victory, a life lived with wisdom, strength, and purpose, unshaken by external chaos. When you reach this point, the narcissist fades into the background, no longer significant, no longer a source of suffering, no longer relevant in your story. They become nothing more than a past lesson, a stepping stone on your journey to greatness. And that, in itself, is the ultimate freedom. As Seneca wisely said, "He who is brave is free." You are now free.